Hello and welcome for a webinar on embryology. My dear students, we will be dealing with embryology in a series of 5 webinars. You all know that embryology is very important part of human life itself, and so also it is very important for examination also. Without embryology, one should be less knowledgeable in anatomy. So that is why before proceeding with regional anatomy, I have decided today to deal with general embryology. So embryology is a separate subject as such, and it requires a lot of hours to complete the whole embryology. But for your level, we can complete total embryology in a span of say 5 webinars as far as the basic embryology is concerned. So I'm trying to complete basic embryology within the span of say 5 webinars from today onwards. So let us begin with first part of embryology, that is general embryology, more basic. Well, what is embryology? I hope everybody know. Embryology means study of embryo, and it is a science which deals with the studies of formation of an embryo and process of its development. The formation of embryo is a very small process, but the process of development and the stages involved in it are very complicated things. So that is why we have to understand the embryology right from chapter 1. Okay, we have already studied gametogenesis, so you know what is spermatogenesis and what is oogenesis, and how spermatozoa fertilizes the ovum. That basic part we know, but we have to deal in details with the fertilization first in order to proceed with further aspects of embryology. Well, here we go. The individual development of living organism is called as ontogenesis. Ontogenesis, remember this term? I think it must be new to you, but ontogenesis is the actual word for the development of living organism. So every individual develops in two basic stages. First is prenatal ontogenesis and next is postnatal ontogenesis. Natal is related to natum. Natum means birth. So prenatal means before birth and postnatal means after birth. So every individual develops before birth in the womb of mother and also after the birth, okay, till the person dies, because certain things of regeneration also keep on going in the human beings. So that is why postnatal ontogenesis development from birth up to death of an individual. So the embryogenesis is a part of ontogenesis. Embryogenesis means formation of embryo, is a part of ontogenesis. So remember this terminology: embryology, ontogenesis, embryogenesis, and so on. Okay. In the development of embryo, there are some stages involved which are characterized by quantitative and qualitative changes. Okay, and that begins right from the conception. Conception means fertilization, where the fusion of male and female gamete takes place. Then fertilized ovum becomes a zygote, and zygote goes into rapid cell division series up to the formation of blastula, and that is called as cleavage. Then after blastula comes gastrula or gastrulation, where the process by which three germinal embryonic layers are formed, which is also called as germinal disc or embryonic disc, which involves ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Then plus after this organogenesis start with the after the formation of tissues. So histogenesis, organogenesis, and finally systemogenesis. This is how organism is formed inside the womb of mother. Okay. So in short, embryology means study of the origin and development of an organism. There are many, you can define our embryology in different styles. Like you can say prenatal and postnatal development of organism is also called as embryology. So there are many definitions which you can make out of this term. You can make your own definition. So now prenatal period means before birth. Of course, before birth, the whole, it is also called as intrauterine life. So inside the life inside the uterus, that means in the womb of mother, and that period is of 38 weeks from the conception up till the birth. Conception means fertilization. The moment of male and female gamete uniting together, that becomes a fertilization. Same thing is called as conception, and that is 38 weeks is average fetal life, normal fetal life. Fetal life means coming from word fetus. Fetus is a organism which is inside the womb. But gynecologically, timing of this fetal age is counted from LMP. LMP means last menstrual period. That is related to the mother of that baby. Therefore, it refers to 40 weeks. And this 40 weeks is called as a gestational age. Gestation means pregnancy. So pregnancy is of 40 weeks because last menstrual period, after last menstrual period, 2 weeks are required for the purpose of ovulation. So date of conception has been difficult to determine. Actually, exact date of conception is difficult. You cannot, neither doctor nor the patient, concerned patient can determine, but you can calculate it from the last menstrual period because it is an average 2 weeks before ovulation. So these 2 weeks plus those 38 weeks, total 40 weeks is a gestational age. So pregnancy duration is of 40 weeks, what we call 9 months. Now, what is traditional division? Okay, amongst the people, we call it as embryonic period. First 8 weeks. First 8 weeks means first 2 months is an embryonic period. All measures are formed during this embryonic period. Another term is fetal period. So fetal period is for remaining 30 weeks. So 30 plus 8 is 38. So only 38 weeks are required, and those 2 weeks are because of menstrual cycle. We count them as a 40. So you just count 30 plus 8, 38. Organs grow larger and become more during these remaining 38. So first 2 weeks are very, very important as far as formation of the whole body of that organism is concerned. All major organs are formed during first 8 weeks. So that means first 2 months. Okay. Let's proceed further. Accordingly, we have few more terminology like pre-embryonic period, embryonic period, fetal period, perinatal period. Every word you have to understand right in the first year of your course, because after that you will be studying gynecology in third year, gynecology and obstetrics. For that you should know embryology properly. Pre-embryonic means before formation of embryo. That is first week to the end of second week. First week means 15 days. Then from fertilization to the formation of bilaminar disc. Bi means 2-layer disc, only where ectoderm and endoderm is formed. No mesoderm is formed there. So that is how you can count those 2 weeks. Now embryonic period is from 3rd week to 8th weeks. So first 8 weeks means 2 months. From that only first 2 weeks are for pre-embryonic, remaining 6 weeks are for embryonic period. And after 9th week till birth, it is called as a fetal period. Means fetus is formed because every organ is formed at that time. So it's called as fetal period. And that is meant for the growth, further development of all organs and system. And those are from 9th week of intrauterine life up till birth. Now perinatal, it is prenatal means before birth, postnatal means after birth, perinatal means around birth. So around birth means sometime before birth, sometime after birth. So 4 weeks after birth means 1 month after birth. 4 weeks means 1 month after birth. And from 26th week of intrauterine life, that period is counted as a perinatal stage. Okay. Newborn baby, after the birth, it is called as a newborn baby. Newborn baby is up to 1 month. After 1 month, that newborn baby becomes infant. Okay. So those are the different terminologies, like we call zygote, then we call embryo, then what we call fetus, then we call newborn baby, then we call infant, then child, and so on. Here you can see some images here. Here you can see a 25 days embryo. Here you can see a 36 days embryo. And here you can see 56 days embryo. 56 means 4 days less to 2 months. It is only 30 millimeter, means 3 centimeter in size, but the whole human being is formed by the end of second month of intrauterine. You can see in this image, and that is how the what you call fetus looks. By this time it is called as a fetus, because after the end of the second month, that means from the 9th week of intrauterine life, it is called as a fetus. Here you can see a 20-week fetus. Now it looks like human beings fully. Okay, 9 weeks to 38 weeks is a total conception, and major fetal events are like organs grow in size and complexity. So baby is growing here, and now it has become 18.5 centimeter, and it is in centimeter now. And by the end of 9th month or 9 months, it shows in mother's womb like this, inverted head down position, what we call ready for getting delivered anytime. This is the completion of 38th week. So this is how the days of intrauterine life pass. Now embryology as a subject for the students of first year, we should have some detailed knowledge about embryology. So we study embryology in 6 subtopics, like history of embryology, germinal layer and fertilization, blastocyst and implantation, formation of the germinal disc, trilamellar disc and embryo, fetal membranes and placenta, twins and multiple births. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So today we will try to complete first 2, that is history of embryology and germ cell and fertilization. Because of time constraint, we cannot complete everything today. Remaining part we will take in series of almost 5 lectures or 5 webinars daily from today onwards. So every day some part of embryology will try to complete by the end of Saturday. Now, history of embryology is actually, embryology has become science of what you call curiosity to many of them right before Christ, like 384 to 322, during the time of Aristotle. So Aristotle had thought that there is something in the semen and there is something in the menstruation which combines together to form another human being. This was a gross idea about embryology at that time. But Harvey in 1651, so many years elapsed. See, the history, it tells you, this is in brief, all life form from oocyte. He came to conclusion, Harvey, in 1651, that every life comes from oocyte. Oocyte means egg cell, what we call, or ovum in the woman's uterus. Then in Malthus in 1675, he further said that micro chicken in an egg, in the ovum. So there is a micro chicken in the egg which gives rise to organism. Then Leeuwenhoek in 1677, he came up with a micro human in the sperm. So he was talking about ovum and he was talking about sperm. Still there were lots of confusions till 1677. Okay. Then in 1868, biogenetic law was brought by Haeckel, and Spemann in 1869, 1941. So quite recent in the 20th century. Experimental embryology was performed. So this is how embryology went on developing further and further. And by the time 1997, the scientists working in the embryology, they went further to go for a formation of organism with somatic cell. So what do we call somatic? Any body cell, and that is called as cloning. So the first clone was a dolly, which was done by Wilmot in the year 1997. In the year 1997 is quite recent. So now cloning. So you know that now male and female gametes are not required for formation of another organism. By cloning also you form the different organisms. So this is the short history of embryology. Now let us go for a second subtopic, that is germ cells and fertilization. Germ cells means, germ means not kitak or kide. Here the germ cells means gametes. You know gametes now because we have studied gametogenesis, spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So you know that. A spermatozoa is a male gamete and ovum is a female gamete. Spermatozoa, it becomes capacitated in female reproductive tract. The sperms were enabled to bind to the zona pellucida receptors. Removal of glycoprotein decapacitant factor which cover the sperms. This happens in the female genital tract. And ovum, secondary oocyte gets aerated at metaphase in the second meiotic division. It gets completed at the time of fertilization. So we'll see what is fertilization now. There are two types of generative cells or germ cells or gametes, or they are also called as sex cells. There are so many names for them. And those are male cell is spermatozoa or spermatocyte, and female cell is ovum or oocyte. Okay, here you can see the images of ovum, and here you can see the image of spermatozoa. And the spermatozoa anatomy, if you see, we have seen some images during gametogenesis study, but this images is quite, you know, in detail. You can see it has got a head, a neck, and tail. The tail is subdivided into three segments: middle piece, principal piece, in the end piece, and everything in the head like acrosomal cap. We have seen all this study. This is called as anatomy of spermatozoa. There can be a short note on spermatozoa in our exams. And the ovum is 30 times larger than a spermatozoa. It is a female haploid gamete. So the spermatozoa is a male haploid gamete. Here you can see image of ovum. They are usually round, and the spermatozoa are elongated. So this is round and that is elongated. The ovum is characterized by the presence of protein lipid inclusion of yolk in cytoplasm. The human oocyte is secondary oligolexial, that what means that amount of yolk in cytoplasm little, and is isoleucithal, that what means that yolk distributed evenly on cytoplasm. And there is a jelly like zona pellucida and a radiate crown called as corona radiata. So here there is a word corona. Corona means like a crown. Even the virus which we see now, corona, these are the days of corona. So corona word basic meaning is like a crown. That virus looks like a crown, so it is called as coronavirus. So here corona radiata means on the radially there is a presence of, you know, corona like structure. So it's called a corona radiata. Well, now what is fertilization? Fertilization, in other words, is also called as conception. The fusion of gametes to produce a new organism of the same species. The fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote is also called as fertilization. Okay, Prithviraj Shinde, don't pin your photo. Unpin kar. Now fertilization, the process in which the spermatozoa penetrates into the ovum to form fertilized ovum. Fertilization takes place in ampulla of fallopian tube. This we have seen at the time of uh, uh, what we call gametogenesis also. I have told you about this at the time of gametogenesis. Okay. Well, There are some disturbances here, and this is a image of female genital tract where you can see the ovary and the fallopian tube, or you can see the ampulla. And here this is ampulla, this is fimbria. Here the fertilization takes place that I have told you during the time of gametogenesis. So fertilization further stages we will try to understand now one by one. One is first is fertilization takes place in 4 steps. First step is contact and recognition. So here the two gametes come in contact with each other and they try to recognize. So like a casual introduction, how are you and all that, what people do. Similar kind of introduction is there when the fertilization takes place in the female genital tract. Okay, here you can see sperm undergoes maturation and capacitation within the female reproductive tract. And recall that spermatozoa are produced in the testes and matured in the epididymis until ejaculation, and then they become capacitated in the female genital tract. It's called as further maturation. So this is how the what do you call development of spermatozoa takes place. Last meiotic division takes place in the female genital tract. So every spermatozoa is not going through all that, but only those which get opportunity to enter female genital tract. Spermatozoa reach the ovum in the fallopian tube where fertilization will occur. So this is the first step. Here you can see the first step, and the second step is spermatozoa entry. Now this is time to make a entry. There are many spermatozoa around the ovum because ovum is only one. You know that at per menstrual cycle only one ovulation takes place. So one ovum is released normally. So here only one spermatozoa is allowed to enter, and it's called as a fast block. As soon as it enters, electric charge in the ovum plasma membrane prevents polyspermy. So polyspermy means allowing entry of more spermatozoa is prevented due to electric charge in ovum plasma membrane. That's called as a fast block. So one comes in and there is a block. So slow block is another thing where depolarization of ovum plasma membrane due to calcium ion release takes place. Now this was second stage. Third stage is ovum activity. Here there is release of calcium ions in ovum plasma membrane, also triggers protein synthesis. This is called as ovum activation. And next is fusion. So this is the last stage of fertilization. The spermatozoa nucleus is propelled into the ovum nucleus by microtubules, and by this time the two cells get fused and two pronuclei are formed, male pronuclei and female pronuclei, and that stage is called as zygote. Now fertilization is taking place. See, this fertilization has taken place here. This is a spot of fertilization. These are the further stages of development up to implantation. We'll come to that point later on. The process of fertilization where sperm bind to sperm receptor ZP3 induce acrosome reaction. So there is release of acrosomal enzyme, and here there is a picture showing you all that process 1, 2, 3, how it enters slowly in the ovum that you can see in this picture. There is a those who disturb, I just remove them, so don't disturb please, because there is no other option for me, because if one guy speaks it disturbs everybody. Now here you can see ovum and sperm, or ovum and spermatozoa, they have united. Other spermatozoa are around the ovum, they are lingering around the ovum, you can say, but they don't get entry because there is no polyspermy allowed here in human beings. And this is a fertilized ovum. So this one is a whole idea. These pictures give whole idea of fertilization again. And there is something called as zona reaction. I told you zona about it while studying ovum. Is cortical granules, okay, perivitellin space, then degrade ZP3, alteration of zona pellucida, barrier for spermatozoa penetration. So barrier means there is a hurdle for spermatozoa penetration. So this is the significance of zona pellucida here. The second meiotic division of the secondary oocyte is rapidly lifted. The second meiotic division of the secondary oocyte is rapidly lifted, and the second polar body is released. So you know that we get three polar bodies because we finally in case of oogenesis only one and daughter cell is required, and three are to be discarded one by one, and the second polar body is released, leaving a haploid female nucleus here. And here you can see a contact of spermatozoa and ovum. This looks like something like space study, like if satellite is landing on a moon. So that is also quite amusing thing if you study space science. So similarly this is also like that, but it is something launching of spermatozoa, and then it lands on the ovum and so on, because their ovum is so big as compared to the spermatozoa. Here you can see spermatozoa is penetrating into the ovum, and these pictures are actually taken from a electron microscope, so they look so big. So now electron microscope has made everything easy for us to understand certain things. And here you can see formation of male and female pronuclei. Male and female pronuclei means after the fusion of male and female gamete. Here you can see two of them inside the fertilized ovum. And here now the fusion of pronuclei is also taking place. That means these pronuclei will unite eventually and they will become one nucleus, and that is what is called as zygote. So process of fertilization in other different pictures if you want to see. These are the some of the pictures. Here you can see fusion of the membrane of the spermatozoa and ovum, nucleus of sperm penetration to ovum, formation of pronuclei, and here the last is fusion of pronuclei. So here fusion of four nuclei means two haploid cells now actually unite and they make a diploid cell now. So this is going to be a single cell stage in human development or human life development, or now we are studying human embryology, and this all process takes place 24 hours right from the hitting of what you call coming in contact with the ovum up till the completion of combination of fusion of two pronuclei. It takes almost 24 hours. Remember, so it is so interesting. Now, what are the conditions which are required for fertilization? One thing is that everything should be normal, means there should be a normal ovum, there should be a normal spermatozoa. Why I am calling normal, you will come to understand day by day as we proceed with the embryology study, during the further course of studies of embryology from tomorrow onwards. So there is sufficient number, that means normal sperm count is required because they are in millions. A certain time has to be given for the fertilization. So up to 24 hours or minimum 12 hours at least it is required to complete the process of fertilization. Okay, and the reproductive tract has to be free. For example, female reproductive tract has to be free because this all happens in the female reproductive tract. And what is the importance of fertilization? So what you get ultimately in what do you call fertilization? What we get a new life. That means the moment the fertilization completes, one new life is formed in terms of a single cell. So this is called as a single cell status of life. So everybody, all of us who are watching this webinar, every living organism moving around was once upon a time a single stage new life. And new life is a diploid cell because two haploid are coming together here and they are forming a diploid cell. The 23 chromosomes from father and 23 chromosomes from mother. Now they have united together here in a process of fertilization. They have given rise to a diploid cell of 46 numbers, and inheritance is also done, an aberrance. That means some characteristics what we talked about them in genetics and heredity, now they are also inherited. So what has been inherited, that is slowly going to be manifested as the process of development goes on. So now everything is distant. This is a small package, and now it is going to show you its characteristic day by day. Usually after birth, more characteristic they start to exhibit, and after the puberty, the full-blown person becomes somebody, and he or she talks about the genetics and hereditary of their family lineage. This is the moment fertilization where the sex is determined. So after the 1 month of pregnancy or at the time of delivery, you cannot change the sex of the offspring. Right at the moment of fertilization, the sex is determined, where nobody knows about it, whether the boy is going to take birth or a girl is going to take birth, or something else. Like we have talked about genetic disorders, chromosomal defects, genetic disorders. So what is going to happen, that nobody knows, only the nature knows it. Okay, because you cannot even predict exact date and time of conception, because 15 days gap, what I told you, LMP, only the lady concerned can tell doctor or her husband that she is not getting menses. That means something has stopped the menses. That means last 15 days only that can be counted. Exact day of conception, nobody can make out. So sex determinants day is done on that day, and the first form of life form on the day of conception, that on the day of what we call uh, correct, what we call zygote. So the first form of life is here. You can see at conception means fertilization. The genetic material from each parent is fused. So it is more than what you call just union. Material is also uniting. Genetic material is also uniting. So what is going to be dominant thing? What is going to be recessive thing, that we have seen in the genes, study of genes. A living cell called the zygote is formed within hours. Within hours means 12 to 24 hours. So here we have new life in the form of zygote. So zygote is a single cell stage of life, or a unicellular stage of each one's life. So आपण सर्वजण कधी ना कधीतरी आपण single stage वाले होतो. This is the meaning of that. So from zygote to human being, the further study we will start from tomorrow onwards. The zygote will become transformed through a process of 3 stages. First is a germinal period, that means first 2 weeks after conception. Then there is an embryonic period, 3rd week to the 8th week after conception, that means embryonic life, and fetal period from 9th week after the conception up till the birth. So that means what you call delivery in case of the female. So that life is fetal life. And with this, my dear friends, we have almost completed the span of 40 minutes, and this is a proper time to end our lecture, because remaining part, if we start today itself, it will land in trouble after time consumption. So tomorrow we'll come back with second part of embryology. Till then, bye, goodbye to all of you, and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.